Ask yourself one question. Do you think your beliefs are based on lies? If no, then understand that the people who commit and support attacks like the one happened in New Zealand think the same. Tragedies like that are motivated because these people's beliefs are not being addressed by either politicians or media, which push them to commit such crimes so that they can be heard. In this video, we will tackle down those beliefs and we'll see that if there was any truth in attackers' ideology. Christchurch attackers took 2 years to plan the attack, and he wrote a manifesto of 73 pages. The media only covered the Islamophobe part of the attack and didn't address the real motives behind the attack, which he mentioned in his manifesto, and that's what we're going to talk about. Actually, the guy was a nationalist who believed into the purity of race, meaning that he didn't want white race to be mixed up with the people of color. And due to the immigration, he felt that the white race is threatened. He called immigrants cheap labor and invaders, and he said that the white race is endangered because of the high birth rates of other races. So basically, he massacred 50 people to tell the West that the white people should stay preserved, immigrants are cheap labor and invaders, and high birth rates of other races endanger the white race. But all these things are not true. For example, let's talk about the high birth rates first. According to the attacker, the white race will cease to exist or will become a minority because of the high birth rates of other races. That's not true. The real problem is that the white people are not having enough babies. For example, in order to avoid a population crisis, a country needs to maintain a fertility rate of 2.1, but right now in most of the Western countries the fertility rate is below 2.1. For example, in USA it's 1.88, in Germany it's 1.44. The reason behind this population crisis are economic and geographic. The economic reasons are that a lot of people in West are underdeveloped into the very early stages of their life, due to which they need to drop out from their high schools and they start doing low paid jobs, and they cannot afford a family, and they work hard for 20 years to afford a family, and a woman starts to become infertile at the age of 40. So these are the economic reasons, and these problems also exist in countries like China, Japan and South Korea, and these are the countries the attacker praised. And the other reasons behind the population crisis in West are geographic. For example, in West, majority of the females are feminists, and a feminist is much more career oriented than a family oriented. And it's not a coincidence that with the rise of feminism, the birth rates started to decline after the World War II. The other reasons are the acceptance of homosexuality and LGBT. Since in West these two movements are on the rise and a lot of people are in homosexual relationships and are LGBT, and these relationships cannot produce babies, so the birth rates are expected to decline more into the West. These are the reasons that endanger the white race. Since in Middle East countries, African countries and South Asian countries, people are much more family oriented and they do not accept homosexual relationships or LGBTQ. That's why they don't have birth rates problem. This population crisis leads a country towards slower economy, and in order to boost the economy, they need immigrations, and that's what leads us to our second point, that is immigration. According to the attacker, the immigrants are invaders and cheap labor. That's not true. Immigrants are better for the society and the economy. According to the reports in USA, immigration is associated with lesser crimes, and an immigrant is less likely to be a serious criminal compared to the native born, and the incarceration rates of illegal immigrants are less than the native born. And if we talk about their role in economy, then according to the reports of World Bank, the immigrants increase the GDP of a country, which means that they boost the economy. And according to OECD, the immigrants increase the workforce in Europe by 70% and in America by 47%. And these are the immigrants who have PhD degrees and are highly educated, and that is why they are doing high profile jobs in West. And undocumented and documented, both immigrants are paying billions of taxes each year. A lot of people doesn't know that there is high criteria set in order to allow someone to immigrate into a Western country. For example, if we talk about Canada, then this criteria is based on their work experience, their education, their language, their age, their medical reports should be positive, their background should be cleared, and these kind of the criteria are followed by Germany, France. So we cannot say that immigrants are cheap labor or invaders. Now let's talk about the third point, the purity of race. The attacker didn't want the white people to be mixed up with the people of color, but what he doesn't understand is that today we live in a world which is country and economy oriented, where there is no discrimination on race or religion. And America or Europe doesn't just belong to white people, but it belongs to their citizens, whether they're black, brown, or white. So if there is a group of people who don't want the white people to be mixed up with people of color, then they can a community where they can stay preserved instead of imposing their ideology onto the whole nation. And today the majority of the people believes in equality and justice than the color of their skin. That is why USA had a black president and London have a Muslim mayor. From all this, we can conclude that the attacker didn't know about the real issues, just like a lot of people doesn't know about the real issues because they consume the mainstream media too much, and the mainstream media misinform them for the sake of ratings and profit. Misinformation leads to misunderstanding, misunderstanding leads to hatred, and hatred leads to such atrocities. So if we want to prevent such atrocities from happening again, we need to educate as many people as we can. So please share this video and educate people. If you want to join our team or participate into the discussions, please text us. We will get back to you.